Hello, my name is Chris and I will review the 2021 Acura TLX in A-Spec trim, a vehicle I had for an afternoon. I was anxious to try this vehicle as I own a 2017 Acura TLX and this is totally new. I will discuss the exterior, interior, highlight some tech features, and take it out on the road and answer the question, is this the best new sports luxury sedan in the category? Acuras are looking better and better, and they achieve this by making TLX longer and wider, and it has changed the look dramatically. It almost looks like a midsize. In this color, it looks beautiful too. Nice wheels. Acura's press release compares the specs of this car with the previous 4-cylinder, but price-wise, it's more like the 6-cylinder engine. And this car is very heavy, almost 4,000 pounds. That is mid-size weight despite extensive use of aluminum. Thankfully, the car is way stiffer than the previous generation, so the changes are more than skin deep. Also, A-Spec at this price with this equipment is quite a few $1,000s less than the 3 Series. Of note, Acura more intelligently options its A-Spec, whereas the optioning of BMW is more of a mess. Critically, blind spot monitoring and rear traffic alert is missing from the base model, a serious safety omission, though Acura does get the top safety pick plus from IIHS. While looking and weighing like a midsize on the outside, TLX feels like a big compact on the inside. There's not a ton of room here, and while this is fine for the compact class, there isn't that clever space management that Honda is famous for. Acura characterizes this interior as the dual personal cockpit. A fair enough description. This update was a necessity though. Now the materials quality and design is class appropriate, though it's still behind BMW. Example, the steering wheel is fine, the dash is fine, but some of its rivals do better and do digital, key driver interfaces. TLX has a wrapped around feel, and this does feel sporty. The A-Spec seats are incredible. The comfort is nuts, and they are 12-way adjustable with a cooling and heating function. This TLX offers decent enough climate ergonomics, and A-Spec gets a sorely needed new and improved ELS sound system, CarPlay and Auto, and drive modes as you interface with this infotainment display, which is large enough, sharp enough, and snappy enough. Acura Watch is the usual suite of driving aids, and TLX sports safety innovations like an airbag in the form of a catcher's mitt. It shows Acura has got innovative safety on the brain. Thoughtful. There is a new double wishbone suspension, and TLX feels much more lively than before. It also feels heavier though. This engine is a 2-liter turbo that produces 272 horsepower and 280 pounds of torque and comes with a snappy 10-speed automatic, and super handling all-wheel drive is now standard. Very complete and especially useful when living above the snowline. This 4-cylinder turbo sounds better than all its rivals, which makes driving TLX fast more involving. And although this engine is full of go, you do feel TLX fight the weight of the car when passing on the highway. It does 11.3 liters in the city and 8.1 liters on the highway, or 2129 mpg. For reference, the previous 6-cylinder did 12 liters in the city and 8.2 liters on the highway. This TLX is definitely a top 3 in the category, along with G70 and 3 Series, and offers proven reliability as a bonus. Also, Acura TLX is made in the US, as are many of its parts, making it a fair trade product. Here are my thoughts on the road. Hello car lovers! Today Ross brings me the Acura TLX 2021 A-Spec. What do I think about this vehicle? Well, from the outside when you're looking at it, it kind of reminds me of the CT5 in terms of its size. Low, large, big. It almost looks like a midsize from the outside. It's probably an optical illusion, but that's what it looks like. It seems not to be a compact. It certainly weighs like a midsize, almost 4,000 pounds. I'll talk about that later. But on the outside, I find it looks very good. Nice paint. I like the color, and I'm just so sick of blacks, of whites, of grays. I like a nice color. I will say though that the Germans do make a slightly more refined color. They should maybe take note of that, Acura. I like the refined blues, like the Estoril blue of BMW, for example. However, I must say it does look very nice. On the inside, Acura gave it the upgrade that we see in the RDX. The climate control here, easy to use with buttons. We have here the transmission with buttons, which is so-so. We have here this trackpad, which sucks. We have an infotainment that looks good enough. We have here a dash that's been refreshed. It's not digital like some of its rivals, but it does look good, I must say, and easy to consult. The steering wheel is nice. Is it a M steering wheel? I have to compare to BMW because it's getting to the price of a BMW. No, it's not quite an M steering wheel, but very good, very well to take in hand. It's got a nice flat bottom here, which some people like. The materials quality, I think, is satisfactory. There's nice red stitching here. Okay on that level. The haptic quality, how things feel when you're touching gear, mid-class, I'd say. I don't think it's German quality, but it is very good. There is a sunroof here. It's not a panoramic roof, but it is a sunroof, and I think most drivers of this vehicle, they just require a sunroof. The seats are still the best in the category. Acura and Honda make the best seats in the world, and this vehicle is no exception. It's probably the only thing that it does better, apart from reliability, than the Germans, I would say. The seats, they do have an edge in terms of comfort. When I'm sitting in them, I feel I could sit here for hours. Ross did his week with the car, no complaints on that level. There is a lot of room for my legs here, for my mansplaining position, which I like. And there is also a roomy enough vibe here in front. In the back, it feels very compact. It's not roomy. I was sitting behind myself. I had enough room. Accessing it is a bit awkward because it's the low roof line. However, once you're sitting inside, it is okay. It is not better than the competition, yet it looks from the outside bigger than the competition, which is kind of awkward from Honda or Acura. They're really good at packaging their cars. They have the ability to make cars look small on the outside, big on the inside. Well, this is the opposite. It is big on the outside, average on the inside, I would say. The suspension and the weight and the engine. Yes, the engine is nice. It does growl. It has good pickup, but it doesn't do better than its rivals in that regard. I'm thinking of the 3 Series once again, because it is the gold standard in the category. And I'm comparing it more bluntly to the 3 Series than I did other Acura TLXs in the past, because the price has gone up, right? The all-equipped 4-cylinder that I bought in 2017 was $38,000 something. Now this vehicle goes for $50,000. You're getting a lot more though. You're getting a turbocharger, you're getting a better suspension, you're getting the 4-wheel drive standard. So in that respect, it's very good. However, at that price in the past, Acura did give you the V6. And this engine, it must be said, loves to be booted. And I can feel it when I drive it, just accelerating out of curves. I'm gonna gun it right now. And you can feel it's ready to go. And with the transmission that has many speeds, it keeps you at the right power balance. So that's nice. So despite its weight, the technology tries as much as possible to make the car feel light-footed. I think it's a car that's 4,000 pounds that's trying to make you believe it weighs 3,500, and casually it might make you feel that way. I'm not feeling it consistently. You feel when the acceleration, especially the 100 to 120, it doesn't quite have the jump, it seems, that perhaps some of its rivals have, and that's the weight that's keeping it down. So there's that to think about on the test drive. I would temper what other car reviewers have said about this vehicle. The American brands have seemed to said that this car is awesome. It's the best. I would temper that, and I'm an owner of this car, so. There is, of course, all the little things that you expect in this vehicle. There is the drive modes. It's adjustable. They've improved the ELS sound system. I was beginning to feel the one in the 2017, that is to say the 10-speaker model, I believe it's the one on the lower trim models, was becoming somewhat outdated in terms of the sound quantity and quality. This one here has more sound quantity and more sound quality. It seems to be finer. The trebles are less bright and the bass is fuller, it seems. So on that level, I'm okay with that. Am I sounding disappointed? I'm not disappointed. I think this is a great car. I think this is a top 3 car. Ross asked me, Christopher, would you take this car or would you take a BMW 3 Series if you were buying a new car today? Since I own an Acura TLX, I guess it's a good question. I did not know what to answer him. I think I would lease the BMW 3 Series. I think it's still the Summit with a few caveats. I'll get to that. And for the ownership, I would buy this car. It's just because Acura and Honda have a proven track record for reliability. It isn't what it was 25 years ago, but it's still, after Toyota, I still think it's the best of the rest. And it's just, I guess time will have to tell for the Genesis product, right? It certainly seems promising, but it's just, we can't tell, right? They haven't been around long enough for us to tell, and if we base ourselves on Hyundai, I'm not ready to make that move, especially for vehicles in which repairs cost so much, right? When you go to the dealer, it's always $1,000, $2,000, and I just don't want to have those trips. When I buy a car, that's the price I want to pay, and that's it. On the lease, well, on the lease, it's interesting because it will all depend on price, I guess, if I were shopping, because I'm willing to buy a BMW 3 Series, but I'm not willing to pay an infinite amount of money for it. And I think that's just where things become a little bit quacky, because I like all the options in this vehicle, this A-Spec, but I don't like all the options when I option up on the BMW 3 Series. So it becomes this weird situation where, do I want to pay the extra with all the weird options that BMW gives you when their options with their options groups, or is the price low enough where I'm willing to forget about it and take it over this car in the G70? It must be said, the G70 for this price, you're almost getting a V6 turbo, which is amazing. You're in another world there. You're in another world. So it's really a difficult shopping experience. I certainly think this is a top 3 along with G70 and BMW 3 Series. I will give an honorable mention to Lexus, because I just find the IS is the only non-German car that looks as good as the Germans on the outside. On the inside, it's still a little bit of a scramble like this vehicle. And of course, the Lexus IS is nowhere as comfortable as these vehicles as I remember it. So there's a variety. And this is why I like the sedan segment so much more than the crossover segment, because there's just such a variety in the sedans still. There's still something for everyone. This is where this vehicle, ultimately its downfall, I find, it's the weight. You feel it. And I don't care what anybody says, you do feel the weight. So it's just not light on its feet. It just doesn't have that touchy feel that other reviewers say it does. Yes, I'd probably buy it on long term. That's probably what I do. So those are my thoughts on the excellent Acura TLX. Highly, highly recommendable. In fact, on the purchase, I think this is the one, and that is the review. By the way, if you like this video, like it. If you don't like it, don't like it. And if you really like it, well then, of course, you should subscribe. And that is it.